Okay, so now the first phase we will be asking them was, please give me all your requirements. What is your tech stack? So in the technology stack, I'll ask about what is your front end, back end, middleware, and is this microservice enabled, or how the architecture it was defined. Because based upon that particular technologies, I'll be selecting my tool set. For an example, in automation, if they are using with the normal HTML5 and CSS3, then I'll be using with the Selenium. If they are using the React.js, then I'll be taking with the WebDriver IO. And if they are using, means if they are using with the Angular, then I'll suggest to go with the protractor. So like this, we will be deciding what tools we should use based upon their tech stack. And they will say that, boss, I know very clearly, I don't wanted to do with any of this. Go ahead with the Selenium only. You can do that. Okay, fine. If the client asks this one, then we need to do it with that. So that is from the technical aspects we need to gather. And next pointer, so we need to see, is it feasible? Means, is it the application is stable, and the application can be automatable or not? Means, if every day the application is getting changed, is it the right candidate for doing the automation? Obviously not. We can't do it. And however, I'm not talking about only from the automation point of view, that anyways we will have another life cycle called automation life cycle. But in the test in our STLC, in the requirement phases, even the ALC will be part of STLC. So that's where we should have to gather all these informations. We will say that where we need to write the test cases, where we need to log the bugs. Don't worry, what is this test cases and all the things. When we come to that particular part, I'll give you a detailed level of information. I'll let you know. So where I should log this particular test cases, where I should log the bugs, and where I'll be getting the right documentation. Means, for an example, if it is a waterfall model, we will be using the requirements and all the things. When if it is come to the agile mode, so we will be having the user stories and the things. Guys, the terminologies are very important. When you use this terminologies, by this itself, we can easily understand whether you are into the industry or not. So make sure that when you are using, use the proper terminologies. When you take a right, means example, explain anything with the example, but the same thing you need to use the terminologies. Don't miss that. So now, in this is the way you gather the complete information from the client, and then you will analyze that and you'll keep it. So this is what the phase number one. Now go to the phase number two, test planning. So now when we come to the test planning, now I'll give it this one to Shashi. So Shashi, can you tell me what do you meant by test planning phase? What exactly we will do it over here? Shashi, you there?
One point we can
Yeah,
edit.
Krish, sorry. Yeah, I was speaking in mute. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, one point RTM we can edit here, right? In the requirement phase.
Now, RTM would be when we start, when it mostly we will be using in the closure because that is a proof of evidence that all the requirements has been covered or not. So initially we can't create the RTM Ruma. So I'll let you know. So in the closure phase, we will
Okay.
have this RTM. I'll talk about that particular pointer there.
So initially, when we'll do the requirement analysis, by that time we are building that RTM, or we are building in the last.
We will build that one in the last, not in the first phase,
Okay.
because in the requirement gathering, just we will gather that particular requirements and then we will store it. So in the RTM, what we will try to do, we will be creating the traceability. So from end to end, I'll talk there in the closure, Ruma.
Sure, sure, sure.
Okay, but to answer your question, we will not do it in the initial phase.
Okay.
We will do it in the last. Then only we can get that information. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Shashi, please.
Yeah, in is it audible, my voice?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Yeah, in test plan generally, whether first of all, whether a requirement got signed off or not, and we need to. I mean, the first phase should be completed, and in test plan generally we use entry and exit criteria, and risks and mitigations, on the how many resources we are working, and if they are any sick leave or whatever, how to maintain the risks in that, and bug life cycle also we can add in that, and DM turnaround time. For example, if you raise an issue how long it takes for severity, how much duration we need to take that one to complete fix and test, and environment, what environment we are using, and what kind of are we going to do regression, and are we going to create any test data, or are they providing any test data? And finally, when we are going to release the first build one, when we are going to release and build two, when we are going to final build, when we are going to complete. So all these data will plan in this test plan.
Cool, super cool, Shashi. See, guys, as Shashi said, in the test planning phase. Okay, so now you need to see this all as a different phases, right? In this particular phase, we will plan our test. Guys, let's think we are planning for a Goa trip. Now, year end, we are planning for this sunburn or somewhere else we wanted to go. Now, what we'll try to do, boss, now first I need to book my flight tickets. I need to book my hotel reservations, and I need to book my cab, and I need to book my car over there. And I need to book my tickets for these entry tickets or anything. What you will try? You will be trying to prepare all. And then these are the schedules we are means pre-booking and all the things, and then you will plan it. So first 2 days I need to stay in north, and second 2 days I need to stay in south, and the last 2 days I need to stay in the central Panjim. And then this is what you are planning. And then if you don't get this entry tickets, so now what I should do? So okay, so if you don't get the rooms, then we'll stay back. So you're planning your trip, and if you face any risk, you are trying to mitigate that, and you're preparing complete plan of your trip, right? The same way, here in this particular test planning phase, you will plan complete for your project. So what are the things we need to test it and do it? So this is the document which we used to prepare for our test planning. So this document is prepared based upon IEEE 830. This is the standard for preparing a particular test plan document. In this particular document, so I'll not get into the details of that. It's a huge document, but at a high level, I'll give you what we will be doing it. So what is the purpose of this particular project, and who are the intended audience, means whether the development team or the BA team or the functional team, for whom we need to send this one. And where we do have the reference documents, means for the requirements, we will be pointing to the user stories available in the Jira or any other particular mode. So those references we will be keeping over here. And this is a revision history of the document, and then this is a review history of this particular document. What do you mean by revision history? Means what is a version of this document? This is version 1. In the version 1, I just added only the types of testing. In version 2, I'll be adding the when I need to resume, and then when I need to do that. So those things we will be adding it. The version numbers will be in the revision history. In the reviewer history, who had reviewed this particular document, whether the team lead has been reviewed this one, or whether the manager reviewed this one, architect reviewed this one, or this one people reviewed this one or not. So that will be part of this particular reviewer. And next one, in scope and out scope. Guys, believe it or not, our life will be saved on this one particular pointer, out of scope. Whenever something when you are testing something, always you should say that, rather than what you are testing, you should say that what I'm not testing. Guys, you will not understand the importance of these particular pointers, but definitely once you've taken your profession as your testing career, at that point of time, these words you will remember it. Mark my word, always you should be very clear that if you are not testing something, you need to say that I'm not testing this. If the people known that risk and they said okay, then it is fine. If they are not fine, then you need to say that this is not tested. Don't assume. Everything should be documented and everything should be saved. Many a times, this is a lifesaver for me. My personal experience, I was saying with it. And second thing, in scope. In scope means what I'm going to test. So what is my boundaries? So from here to here is my boundary. I'm going to test all these things. So you are defining that particular boundary, right? So I'll be, okay, there is a house, we are cleaning it. So you clean the master room, I'll clean the hall. So my scope of work is cleaning only the master room, and I'll not clean that room. So that is what the in scope. So I'll test this, I'll not test this. And the test objectives will be part of this one. I'll not get into that one. It might confuse you. Next one, what are the different types of testing we will be performed? I can perform some any number of some thousands and thousands of testing is there, like regression testing, functional testing, non-functional testing. As part of regression testing, I'll be doing all this stuff, and then retesting. I'll be doing integration testing. I'll do the monkey testing, compatibility testing, forward compatibility, backward compatibility, all what not the testings we are trying to do it. So that will be proposed over here. And then approaches, the testing approaches. I think we have the levels, the testing approaches is also there. So that particular topic we will discuss. We have in approaches means the people will think automation approach, manual approach. That is not. So how to approach your testing? So they have top to bottom, bottom to top, and then sandwich or the big bang. So that approaches we need to discuss here. And here we have entry criteria, exit criteria. So this is one of the most important thing. When I should enter into the testing, when I should exit means the testing. So that particular criteria we will be defining it. Don't worry, we'll discuss about these pointers in our further things. And schedule and the level of efforts. The schedule is nothing but, okay, so I will start this on this date and it will take 5 days of time, and this will be completed on this date. So that dates and the time, the duration of the work means we'll be talking in the schedule. And we will call this one as level of efforts or estimations. Estimations is nothing but, for an example, if I wanted to go from Chennai to Tirupati, it will take 3 hours. This is estimated. So, but there is might be a challenge if my car got punctured or if there is a traffic, it get delayed for 4 hours. So you will be estimating some work and then you will be doing it. If there is any delays or anything, you will be giving the proper justification why it has been done. Usually we'll have the contingency for that. The basic industry contingency from the testing perspective is 10 to 15% based upon the project. I'll come to you and let you know how to do the estimations. That's a different topic. So just you need to know in the test planning what we are trying to do. I'm just letting you know. And what are the dependencies? If I wanted to do this one, what are my dependencies? So I wanted to have DB credentials. I need to have the access to the application, and application should be stable, and the KT team should be provided, and then the functional teams should be supported for me. Like this, all the dependencies we will be explaining over here. The next one is the risk and assumptions. I told you, right, I need to travel from Chennai to Tirupati. If there is something, a puncture happen, so then I'll call my taxi and then I'll take the taxi and then I'll travel. If there is everything goes well, then it is perfectly fine. If I stuck at anywhere, these are my alternative ways. So the same way when you're testing something, so if application is not stable, if the application I'm testing in the dev environment, if it is not working fine, then I'll just jump into the pre-prod environment. In the staging environment, I'll start doing the testing. Like that, you will be writing all your risk and then risk mitigations. If something happen, what I'll be taking to do it. So for an example, another example, I'm going for an examination. So if my bike got punctured, so what is an alternative way? Immediately I'll thought through. So, okay, I'll park my bike here. I'll just take any particular cab and then I'll run away from my examination. So this is what the alternative ways which we'll be planning. If risk occurred, what to do and how to handle that particular risk, that we will be discussing in the risk. And the assumptions are nothing but, so I'm assuming that, so the application would be stable, and I'm assuming that, so these are the functionalities, and then these things will be given to us. So all your assumptions will be also listed on over here. And the test data is nothing but, for an example, it means you are testing for a username and password. So for username and password, you give your first user means your email ID and then your password, and you'll take your friend's email ID and your password. So you are having different data. So with different data, you are trying to test that particular application. So this is called test data. Okay, and then how you will prepare the test data, where you will store your test data, all those particular informations would be logged over here. So that is called the test data preparation, testing data maintenance. This will hold a lot of information, priority. So that's a reason. So this is we will be mentioning into our plan. And the next one is the test deliverables. Okay, boss, I did all the things. What I'm going to deliver for you? I'll be delivering you the test case documents, means all the test cases, and I'll share you the interim results document, and I'll share you the automation code. And like this, we will prepare that particular thing. Means I'll do this, and this is what you'll be getting from me. So this is what the clear-cut expectation setting to the client, right? Boss, I'll do this all. I'll stop the execution if it happens something. Actually, if you we miss one more point. Test suspension and resumption means I'll stop the execution if the application is stop means not stable, and I'll make the execution to resumption back once the application is stable. Network downs, internet downs, anything is there, I'll not do that. So I'm mentioning every clear cut pointers to the client, saying that all. So boss, this is what I will do. This is what I'll not do. And this is what means once after the testing completed, so these are the deliverables which I'll be giving it from my end. So that is what I'll be telling about the test deliverables. And next one, test environments and test management tools. The test environments is nothing but I'll be testing in this particular environment. We will be usually having a development environment, QA environment, and staging environment, and beta environments. Don't get worried, we have another topic called environments, so where I'll explain about what do you mean by environment, why we should require these environments. So there we will talk about that. And test management tools. Test management tools are, see, for an example, I have given you some chocolates. You go and keep it into the refrigerator. And I have given some grocery. You'll go and keep it into your shelf. So it was predefined. So something, if I wanted to keep it, I should have that respective storage capacity. The same way, when I have the test cases, I'll store it in the test case management. If I have the bugs, then we'll be having the bug management tool. So we have different tools for different purposes, right? All my bugs will be stored in the bug management tool. All my test cases will be stored in the test case management. All my code will be stored in the Git repositories. So like that, every tool will have a prominent. So the list of all that particular test management tools will be required, means captured over here. And what are the tools you have been used in your test management? And this includes all your automation and then manual test management tools. And here also, this is the extension of this one. So the test management tools and how you will be controlling it. So now for even you need to control the measures, right? So how you can access for your test cases and how you will access for your defects and what is your bug life cycle and how is your test case life cycle. Guys, you need to understand there are many life cycles. SDLC have a child, STLC, software testing life cycle. STLC will have three subchilds. One is test case lifecycle. Test case lifecycle will have another two childs, which is automation lifecycle, ALC, and another lifecycle, BLC, bug lifecycle. So that is what we are going to discuss in further. Okay, all those life cycles will be part of this particular thing as part of controls. And now, last but not least, appendix. So whatever the terminologies we have used, those terminologies will be listed down, and the documents should be approved. So this is how we will plan a test. So now you got it right. So how crucial is the planning is. So once you have known this planning, then you can execute that particular thing. If you don't have a strong plan, you don't know what to do. Now, I didn't prepare any plan. I just went to a place and then I don't know what to do. I just go here, there, and I'll waste my time. I'll waste all the things. But if I had planned something, okay, I need to go here. From here, I need to go this, and I need to stay here. And from here, I need to go there. And from there, I need to go there. So if I have a standard plan, how much easy for me? I can cover a lot of places. I can enjoy that particular trip. But without knowing anything, if I jumped into that, I don't know the place. I don't know where to play, where to stay, and I don't know what to do. I don't know anything. So then how come I can enjoy that? And I'll miss a lot of things. So that is a reason before doing something, you should know completely about it. And then we need to do it in the test planning. So that in this particular phase, so who will be doing this is all the architects will be doing it and the project managers will be doing it and then leads will be doing it. So all the people will involve and even the team will also will be involved. They will take that particular inputs from the team and then they will create the test plan. And when it comes to the requirement analysis, even in this particular phase, especially the architects, managers, and then leads will be participating. They'll get that all the information, go back to the teams, and then do the analysis, and then they will give back the informations. So in this particular phase also, all the people will involve in preparing of this particular plan. So most probably the managers, the test managers, and then the leads will be involving into it, and leads will be preparing this test plan. Okay, so are we clear with these two phases? Oh, I'm consuming a lot of time. We need to rush a little bit. Okay, so now we need to, we don't know, actually I shouldn't ask you this question, what is this test case designing phase? So that's the reason I'm just letting you know. Test cases, I'll come to the topic in the TCLC. There I'll talk about the test cases. Test cases is, as of now, what you can remember is It's a set of actions which you are performing, which you are trying to perform. So now, because when I talking about the test cases, I'll define you what is a test case, how to write the test cases, what are the different types of test cases, and all those things will be discussed in that phase. So as of now, so you need to understand that you wanted to perform some action. For an example, I wanted to test the login functionality. So when I wanted to test this particular login functionality, I'll be, what I need to do, this is username and this is my password, and then this is what my result. Okay, when I given right username, right password, then I'll be getting it will enter into the home page. When I get a wrong username, right password, then I can't enter into this. When I get right username and wrong password, even then also I can't enter into the home page. Then if I enter wrong username, wrong password, then I can't enter into the home page. If you see this particular probability, so these are 4 different cases. So in these 4 different cases, so these 3 cases we can't log in into this one. We need to verify this. This is most important, and even we need to verify once we have been logged in. Keep it in mind, guys. Always a good tester will write more number of negative scenarios, because always means anyone can write the positive scenarios. Even the developer will write the code and he will test that. That's a positive scenarios only, right? He will test it. But more number of bugs will be identified from the negative scenarios and the exceptional scenarios. So you have to be so cautious in this particular area. So now writing these particular cases means this is what first you need to design. So you will be having basic requirement. See, we will be having the requirements. Requirements will be splitted into the test scenarios, and test scenarios will be divided into the test cases, and the group of test cases will form the test suites. This is the cycle. So now when you come to the last phase, we'll, as we discussed about the RTM, so there we will be prominently discussing about this. Requirements are nothing but what they'll say, boss, I wanted to test the home page, or test my Gmail page with the positives and negatives. And when it comes to this requirement, check my login functionalities and inbox functionalities, outbox functionalities. They will giving like this. Now, when they have been given this one, you just need to consider. So home equal the test scenarios, we will be having it, right? So home module is one scenario, login module is one scenario, inbox is one scenario, outbox is one scenario. Now for each scenario, now what you need to do, so you need to derive the test cases. Now for login, okay, for login, these are the 4 scenarios. I can write a number of scenarios for login. If you believe me, we can write 40 to 50 test cases. So now I have told you only on the validation part, right username, right password. We can enter whether the text boxes is enabled or not, whether the button is enabled or not, whether the data is present in this one enabled or not, or proper or not. And then what are the boundary value analysis we can do. Boundary value analysis is how much is the minimum characters it will take, maximum characters it will take. Actually, there is a law for that. So min plus 1, min minus 1, and intermediate value. So all the 6 values we need to validate. So those are the equivalent class partition values we can do it. Special characters, wild characters, alphanumerical characters, all those validations we can write it. But so those all things you need to design that particular test cases. So from these scenarios, scenarios only we will be deriving the test cases, and grouping of that particular test cases is called test scenarios. And in particular test cases, we will be having test steps. Steps is nothing but step means I wanted to draw cash from an ATM. So what you'll do, go to ATM, step number 1, insert your card, step number 2, enter your PIN number, step number 3, enter your number, means how much amount you wanted, and step number 4, withdraw that, and then take the cash, take the slip, take the card, come out of the ATM. So now I told you the steps, right? Each steps. So the step-by-step procedures. So those things are called as test case steps, and group of all these particular test steps are called as test cases. Okay, recently I was explaining something for algorithms and the flowcharts. So when I was trying to explain about it, so these are more, we will be writing an algorithm for our programs. So there also we'll be having the step-by-step procedures for the action, or for performing the action. So this is what at a high level you can remember as a test case, but I'll clearly give the details of it. So now what is the derivation we wanted to do is, in this particular designing, what we are trying to do is we will design the test cases. How you'll design the test cases means we'll be having the test scenarios. From the test scenarios, we'll derive the test cases, and test cases will group into the test suites. So this is how you design your test cases. Now, next one is the test environments. So environments is nothing but, see, now I'm a tester. I have my QA environment and developer environment, and staging or pre-prod. Pre-prod means, for an example, I'm going for my annual examinations, so we will be having a pre-annual examinations, right? So that's a mock examination before going to the annual. So you will be attending for the pre-annual examinations, and then you will be going same way before going to the production. Okay, for before going to the production, so we will be having a dummy environment where you can test it all. What is meant by this environments means, for an example, we should have consider the 3 layers DB layer. So can you go, means for example, you have your Facebook account that is in your production. So can I go into the, means as a tester, can I go into your account and change your profile picture, or can I change your add or delete your friends list? Will you accept that? Definitely we will not do accept that. So that is the reason what they will do. Production, we have to be so cautious in the production, when to do production testing, when not to do the production testing, what are the limitations, that I'll let you know later. But as of now, you need to know what is a production environment. So what they will do, they'll take a duplicate copy of the production environment, and as it is how it is production, they will create an environment. So that is called pre-prod environment or staging environment. So there you can test it. So that's the last time we will be testing it. So there you will not have the access to the complete customer information or nothing. So just you can play around it. So whether I can add a photo, I can change a profile pic, or I add the friends, delete the friends, whatever the things you wanted to do, you can do it in that pre-prod environment. And then in the testing environment also, you can test. Means you'll have a separate database, and you will be having a separate systems to test that one. It is very simple, guys. Now you have an original certificate. Can you sign and then do a tear or anything on your original certificates? No. What you'll do, you'll take a Xerox copy of your certificates and you'll play around with that particular certificates. So that is what you'll be doing it, right? So that's how we'll be having different environment. It would be like a replica of the production environment, and then we need to do the testing. This is an ideal world, but ideally production environment and the beta environment or the pre-prod environment will never be same. That is another greater challenge. Okay, so that is what first we need to set up for the QA environment to do the testing. So now we prepared the test cases, and we do have the environment, and we do have set up the complete plan. We understand all the requirements. Now what we need to do, we need to execute, implement. Executing, running the test cases, executing the test cases. The people call different names. Initial days when I joined, what to do, run the test case. They will be asking me to execute the login test cases. What I need to execute or run the login test case. What I need to do, I need to open a browser, go to the Gmail, enter the username, enter the password, click the login button, and then go to the home page. This is what I'm doing manually. They are calling this one as a run the test case, execute the test cases. Oh, then I understand. Okay, that's the terminology. When we wanted to perform some means a test case executions, they will be calling it as execute the test cases, run the test cases. And even we do have the automation code. Anyways, when come to the automation, I'll explain. So that's how you need to do the test execution. Means performing, means whatever the test cases we have been written, according to that we need to test it. And even you need to test it in Chrome, you need to test it in Firefox, you need to test it in Opera, and you need to test in Edge, and you need to test in other Safari browsers, whatever the browsers, the same test cases. Because whatever the application, you can't restrict the user that boss, you can use only this browser. So that's where if you are giving a user-friendly application, you should support for all the browsers, and even you should support for Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, and then the combination of this all. So you see how much combinations you'll get it. And you need to do it in the Mac, you need to do it in the Ubuntu, and you need to do it in the Windows. You see how many versions and how many things you need to do it. And even in the Chrome, you need to do it in the 87, and you need to do it in the 86, 85. And in the Firefox, 90, 89, 91. So these are the latest browsers. Guys, all these things it should be on your tips. You should know what are the latest browsers, or you should know what are the operating systems, what are the operating system versions. So you should able to tell on your fingertips. That is very, very important. So now the test execution should perform on all the things. Now you'll have a doubt, Chris, is it possible to do it on all these browsers and the things? Yes, we will do with the help of automation, not manually. Manually, it will take some years and years of time if you do it in this way. That is not at all feasible. That's the reason we'll go for the automation. Okay, now coming back to the last phases, the test closure. The test closure, okay, here I found some bugs, means which is deviation. So I expected this, it is not fine. So then what I immediately I'll do, I'll just throw this one to this guys to fix this one. So if you see here, in the test case designing, we will have the concept of STLC. So now while you are doing the test case design, we will have a test case life cycle. While we are executing, we will have another life cycle which is called bug life cycle. So tomorrow you guys need to go through the test case life cycle and then bug life cycle. So what are the phases in this? Okay, point number one, and who will do what? So this is what you need to understand. So now in the test case designing, how I need to create a test case, how I need to write a test case or start the test cases, and how I need to end that particular test case. So that it will talk here. And bug lifecycle, if I identified a particular bug, then how I should handle the bug and how the bug will be fixed and how it will be retested and how it hand out back to the team. So that it will talk in the bug lifecycle. See now SDLC will have different phases. Now as part of SDLC, testing is there where we have gone for the STLC. As part of the STLC, we will be having for the TCLC and then DCLC. And here itself, in the TCLC, it have another child called ALC, automation lifecycle. This we'll discuss later, but these two things you should understand, the test case lifecycle and bug lifecycle. So now once after the execution completed and all the bugs are completed, then it will go to the test closure. And in the test closure, we will be giving them the interim, in the middle also we'll be giving the interim reports. And the people will ask us, what is your test coverage? Means, so now, means whether you have tested all, means what do you mean by test coverage? Means I given you 10 requirements, all the 10 requirements are tested properly or not. So how you will try to prove it? So the concept of RTM will comes into the picture. I'll talk very detail about this one. So this is how we will understand that what is your pass percentage, fail percentage, and then test coverage and automation coverages and challenges and all the metrics and all the things will be derived from this particular phase. So you should be so cautious and careful while deriving this one. So test closure is nothing but we are closing this, and here we will be giving the RTM and we will be giving the sign off document, and all the things will be given it over here. Sign off document is nothing but what we have tested. This is this. The lesson learns are this. These are the bugs. These are open bugs. These are closed bugs. These are open deferred bugs. And these are the lessons we learned. And this is we tested. This is not tested. These are the lesson the new things we have identified. All those things will be in the test sign off document. When come to the test sign off document, I'll let you know. So the test closure. Now once again we will revisit back here. From designing, who will be doing is the normal QCs will be doing this one, and environment setup and all the things will be done by the infra team. And even in this particular environments, the QC team will work. Execution will be done by the QC team or the QA analyst or the quality controllers and these things. And we will be having the bugs. In the BLC, we will be having the developers and these other roles will be involved. And in this phase, the execution will be done by the quality analyst or quality control. By guys, be cautious. Quality assurance is different. Quality analyst, quality controller will do these all phases. Even in the closure also, quality analyst will be doing it. So the leads and everything will be preparing these documents and then they'll be giving it. So here in this one, what are the documents we'll be getting is, the document is test case document, we'll be getting it. And what are the documents from the bug lifecycle we'll be getting it, or in this phase, how many test cases executed, how many test cases passed, and how many test cases failed, and how many bugs we have it, and how many bugs were open, and how many bugs are closed. So all those informations we'll be getting over in this particular phases. So you should know what are the phases, who are the people will be doing in that phases, what are the outcomes of that particular phases, and how we will perform in that particular phases. So these 4 questions you should answer for anything. So then you'll understand it very clearly. So this is how the STLC is planned and then taken care. Is it clear? Any doubts?